I wasn't going to remain silent anymore.
Patricia Sayers says she was always thinking about the women she left behind after she was sexually assaulted and harassed by a coworker at her retail job.
I went to management to report him and what had happened, and they basically did nothing. This is the report I was given at the store.
So she quit. She says she didn't feel safe at work. She went to the police and filed a case with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario, or HRTO, against the man who assaulted her and management who dealt with her complaint.
I thought it was the quickest way to make it safer for those women. That was not true at all.
Her HRTO case was filed in February 2018, but it was deferred because the employee was criminally charged. He was convicted of sexual assault in 2019, and the HRTO case resumed. The next year, unsuccessful mediation. 3 years later, Sayers finally got hearing dates, October 2023. But the HRTO seemingly didn't book them into its system, so new dates were set for January 2024, 6 years after she filed.
I wanted to effect change at that particular store.
Which is why she went to the HRTO, because it can order public interest remedies with the purpose of preventing similar situations from happening. But because the case dragged on for so long, Sayers says the remedy she was seeking became unattainable.
The HRTO was at fault for that happening because of the dysfunction that is going on there, the backlog that is there.
By the time her case would have been heard, the store was changing ownership. 2 of the men she filed against no longer worked there, and a third was set to retire. Because of that, she says she agreed to a watered-down settlement earlier this year, which included some compensation and the store providing human rights training. She withdrew her case at the tribunal, so her voice, she says, was never heard.
It would have been important for me to be able to say that in a hearing, for them to listen to it and see if the Human Rights Tribunal said, yeah, you know, she does have value. Women do have value.
According to tribunal data obtained by CBC Toronto, fewer cases have been making it to a hearing. Merit decisions have dropped by nearly 60% in the last 6 years, and the number of abandoned cases is going up. There were 3 times more last fiscal year compared to 6 years ago.
You can wear people out.
Kathy Laird is with a group that keeps tabs on the province's tribunals and says the backlog and wait times can lead to applicants abandoning their cases, files being dismissed, and stories never heard.
That's what makes human rights law, is when matters get to a hearing and get fully heard and decided.
Lawyer Tanya Walker says she's seeing the backlog improve, but
it doesn't serve any good for anyone if a matter just settles or is dismissed because of delay. It's not fair. It's not justice.
Tribunals Ontario says it doesn't comment on specific cases, but it's working on moving applications through the system in a more efficient and timely manner. It says at the end of this fiscal year, it had reduced its backlog by 13%.
I think that our society at large doesn't take violence against women seriously enough. That's why I want to speak up. And I want to try and change that for future generations of women and young girls.
Hoping they are safe and feel heard. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.